Hi everyone, I'm Elisar Tejada, BSE2, Section 3. Our topic today is all about social change. Social change, sociologists define social change as transformation of culture, instructions, and functions. Most change isn't instantaneous in society. Change is often very slow. There are variety of parts and forces at work, many of which resist disruptions of the status quo. All societies go through these types of changes at one point. You don't need to be an avid student of history to know that. Consider a modern society and conflict on what it looked like hundreds of years ago. What are the theories on how social change functions? What are the causes of effects? Theories of social change, while it's inevitable for all scientists to go through some changes, why that happens isn't obvious. Throughout history, sociologists have wrestled with different ideas and models. There are three main theories of social change: evolutionary, functionalists, and conflict. Evolutionary. The evolutionary theory of social change gained prominence in the 19th century. Sociologists latched on the Darwin's theory of the evolution, applying it to society. Auguste Comte, known as the father of sociology, believed in the evolutionary model. According to this theory, society always evolves into higher levels, like organisms evolve from simple to more complex. So those scientists, societies that don't adapt fast enough will fall behind. This led many sociologists to conclude that Western scientists must be superior because of their advanced state. At first, social evolutionists asserted that all societies must go through the same sequence of progress. Modern theories believe that change is multi-newer societies can evolve in different ways and different directions. Functionalist theory. The functionalist theory of social change teaches that society is like a human body. Each part is like an organ. Individual parts can't survive on their own. Emily Durkheim, a major leader in the social science, believed that all parts of society must be harmonious. If they aren't unified, society is no more than a field of sand that's vulnerable to collapse. When one part suffers, all the other parts must adjust. Why? The functionalist theory believes that society always works toward stabilization. When problems occur, they're temporary, but they do need attention from the other parts. This means social change. Functionalism isn't without its critics. Many point out that this theory tends to ignore that society's elite often creates a myriad of harmony and stability. The theory also fails to factor in race, class, and gender. Functionalism reached its peak in the 1940s and 50s only to decline in 1960s. Conflict theory. The conflict theory states that society is by nature unequal and competitive. Karl Marx spearheaded this theory while he did believe in the evolutionary models to a point. Marx didn't think its peace resulted in the something better than before. More often than not, the rich and powerful control the rest of society by exploiting vulnerable groups. This shows conflict, provoking people to action. Social change occur as a result. The conflict model evolved over the years. It's found in other theories such as feminist theory, queer theory, and critical race theory. Of social change. Social change often occurs as a result of social movements. There are countless examples throughout history in every country on earth. Some of the most famous, many of which are ongoing and or involving, include the Reformation. The Reformation. First, the action or process of reforming an institution or practice. Second, in 16th century movement for the reform of abuses in the Roman Catholic Church, ending in the establishment of the Reformed and Protestant churches. Second, the abolition of the transatlantic slave trade. On the first day of January 1808, a new federal law made it illegal to import captive people from Africa into the United States. This date marks the end, the permanent legal closure of transatlantic slave trade into our country. Third, the Civil Rights Movement. The Civil Rights Movement was a political movement and campaign from 1954 to 1968 in the United States to abolish institutional racial segregation, discrimination, and disfranchisement throughout the United States. The movement had its origin in Reconstruction era during the late 19th century. Although it made its largest legislative gains in the 1960s, after years of direct actions and grassroots protests, the social movement major non-violent resistance and civil disobedience campaign eventually secured new protections and federal law for the civil rights of all Americans. Fourth, the feminist movement. Known as the women's movement or feminism, refers to a series of social movements and political campaign for radical and liberal reforms on women's issues created by inequality between men and women, such as issues are women's liberations, reproductive rights, domestic violence, maternity leave, equal pay, women's suffrage, sexual harassment, and sexual violence. The movement's practices have expanded since its beginning in the 1800s and vary among nations and communities. Priorities range from oppositions to female genital mutilation in one country. Fifth, the LGBT rights movements. Lesbian, gay, bisexuals, and transgender. LGBT movements are social movements that advocate for LGBT people in society. Some focus on equal rights, such as the ongoing movement for same-sex marriage, while others focus on liberation, as in the gay liberation movement of the 1960s and 1970s. The sixth, the green movement. The environmental movement, sometimes referred to as the ecology movement, also including conservation and green politics, is a diverse philosophical, social, and political movement for addressing environmental issues. Environmentalists advocate the just and sustainable management of resource and stewardship of the environment through changes in public policy and individual behavior. In its recognition of humanity as a participant.